Welcome back to the show. Today, we're diving into something we all do every single day, but often don't think too much about: basic conversation.
That's right. We're going to explore how to navigate those everyday interactions, from asking simple questions to giving helpful responses. Think of it as your conversational toolkit for daily life.
Exactly. And to kick things off, let's start with the basics: asking questions. It sounds simple, but there's an art to it.
Definitely. For example, "Can I ask you something?" It's a classic opener, but the response can vary. Sometimes it's, "Not now, please, I'm busy," and other times it's a welcoming, "Sure, go ahead."
And respecting that initial response is key. If someone says they're busy, don't push it. Timing is everything in a conversation.
Agreed. And then there are questions about location and time. "Are you from here?" is a common one when you're meeting someone new. You might get a "No, I'm not from here," or a "Yes, I'm from here," and that can lead to all sorts of interesting follow-ups.
Absolutely. It's all about building connections. And questions about time, like, "What time does the bus arrive?" can be super practical. Though be prepared for, "Sorry, I have no idea," as well as a helpful, "It arrives in 10 minutes.
That's the thing about conversations. You never know what response you'll get. Which brings us to another important aspect: assessing situations. Asking, "Is this a safe place?" is a prime example.
Definitely a crucial question. And the answers can range from reassuring like, "Yes, this place is pretty safe," to concerning like, "No, it's a dangerous place." It highlights how important it is to be aware of your surroundings.
Okay, so we've covered asking questions. But what about offering help? "Can you help me?" is a straightforward request, but again, the response depends on the situation. You might hear, "I'm sorry, I'm busy right now," or a more welcoming, "Of course, how can I help?"
And that's a great reminder to be mindful of other people's time and availability. If you can't help, it's perfectly fine to say so, but offering an alternative or suggesting someone else who might be able to assist can be a nice gesture.
Exactly. Now, let's move on to language. Asking, "Do you speak English?" is essential when you're traveling or meeting someone from a different background. You might hear "not very well" or a confident, "Yes, I speak it well."
And adapting your communication style based on their response is key. Speak slowly and clearly if they say they don't speak English very well, and be patient.
For sure. Okay, what about checking in on someone's well-being? Asking, "Are you tired?" is a simple way to show you care. The answer could be a quick, "No, I'm fine," or a more honest, "Yes, a little bit."
And if someone says they're tired, offering a supportive response like, "Maybe you should take a break," can make a big difference.
Definitely. All right, another common question. Is there a restroom nearby? A practical question, and you might get a helpful, "Yes, just around the corner," or an unsure, "I'm not sure."
And if you do know where the restroom is, providing clear directions is always appreciated.
Okay, let's talk about social situations. Asking, "Is this seat taken?" is a polite way to check if you can sit somewhere. The response could be a polite, "No, you can sit here," or a more direct, "Yes, someone is sitting here."
And respecting that response, even if you're disappointed, is crucial. Nobody likes a seat thief.
True. Moving on, let's consider readiness. Asking, "Are you ready to go?" is common when you're waiting for someone. The response could be a patient, "Not yet, give me a minute," or an enthusiastic, "Yes, I'm ready."
And again, being patient and understanding if someone needs a few more minutes is important. Nobody likes to feel rushed.
Okay, how about expressing opinions? Asking, "Do you like this movie?" can lead to interesting discussions. You might hear a straightforward, "Yes, I really enjoy it," or a more honest, "Not really, it's not my type."
And respecting different opinions is key. It's okay to disagree, but try to do so respectfully and avoid getting into arguments.
Agreed. Let's talk about weather. Asking, "Is it going to rain today?" is a common question, and you might get an optimistic, "I don't think so," or a more cautious, "Yes, it's supposed to rain later."
And being prepared for the weather, whatever the answer, is always a good idea. Carry an umbrella, just in case.
Okay, what about food? Asking, "Is the food spicy?" is important if you have dietary restrictions or preferences. You might hear a warning, yes, it's very spicy, or a reassurance, no, it's not spicy at all.
And if you're unsure, it's always a good idea to ask for a sample or check with the server before ordering.
Definitely. All right, another common question when you're somewhere new. Is this your first time here? The response could be a revealing, yes, it is, or a more experienced, no, I've been here before.
And if someone says it's their first time, offering recommendations or tips can be a nice way to welcome them.
Okay, let's move on to pets. Asking, do you have any pets? Can be a great conversation starter. You might hear a simple, no, I don't have any, or an enthusiastic, yes, I have a cat.
And if someone does have a pet, asking about their name, breed, or personality can lead to a fun and engaging conversation.
Agreed. Okay, what about checking if a shop is open? Asking, is the shop open now? Is a practical question. You might hear a disappointing, no, it's closed, or a more promising, yes, it's open.
And if the shop is closed, checking the opening hours online or asking when it will open can save you a trip later.
Definitely. All right, let's talk about offering something. Asking, do you want some coffee? Is a common gesture of hospitality. You might hear a polite, no, thanks, or an appreciative, yes, please.
And respecting someone's preference, whether they want coffee or not, is key. Don't pressure them if they decline.
Okay, what about asking to borrow something? Asking, can I borrow your pen? Is a common request. You might hear a reluctant, sorry, I need it, or a more generous, sure, here you go.
And if someone does lend you something, be sure to return it promptly and in good condition.
Agreed. Okay, let's talk about possessions. Asking, is this your phone? Is a way to check ownership. You might hear a clear, no, it's not mine, or a confirming, yes, that's mine.
And if it's not yours, trying to help find the owner is always a good thing.
True. Okay, how about personal preferences? Asking, do you like music? Is a classic conversation starter. You might hear a lukewarm, not that much, or an enthusiastic, yes, I love music.
And if someone does love music, asking about their favorite genres, artists, or songs can lead to a deeper connection.
Definitely. Okay, what about checking on someone's health? Asking, are you feeling okay? Is a caring gesture. You might hear concerning, not really, I feel sick, or a reassuring, yes, I'm feeling good.
And if someone says they're not feeling well, offering support or suggesting they see a doctor is a thoughtful response.
Agreed. Let's move on to skills. Asking, can you drive? Is a way to assess someone's abilities. You might hear a straightforward, no, I can't drive, or a confident, yes, I can drive.
And if someone could drive, asking if they're willing to offer a ride or help with transportation can be a practical request.
Okay, what about distance? Asking, is your house far from here? Is common when you're discussing travel or logistics. You might hear a confirming, yes, it's quite far, or a more convenient, no, it's nearby.
And if someone's house is far away, offering them a ride or suggesting a convenient route can be helpful.
Definitely. All right, let's talk about invitations. Asking, do you want to join us? Is a welcoming gesture. You might hear a polite, no, maybe next time, or an enthusiastic, yes, that sounds fun.
And respecting someone's decision, whether they want to join or not, is important. Don't pressure them if they decline.
Okay, how about confidence? Asking, are you feeling confident today? Is a way to gauge someone's mood. You might hear a nervous, no, I feel a bit nervous, or a self-assured, yes, I feel very confident.
And offering encouragement or support if someone's feeling nervous or celebrating their confidence is always a good thing.
Agreed. Let's move on to personality traits. Asking, are you a patient person? Is a way to learn more about someone's character. You might hear a candid, no, I get frustrated easily, or a more composed, yes, I'm very patient.
And being aware of someone's personality traits can help you better understand their behavior and communication style.
All right, what about ambition? Asking, are you ambitious? Is a way to learn about someone's goals. You might hear a modest, not so much, or a determined. Yes, I have big goals.
And supporting someone's ambitions, whether they're big or small, is a great way to encourage them.
Okay, let's talk about curiosity. Asking, "Are you curious about space?" is a way to learn about someone's interests. You might hear a casual, "Not particularly," or an enthusiastic, "Yes, space fascinates me."
And if someone is fascinated by space, sharing interesting facts or documentaries can lead to a stimulating conversation.
Definitely. Okay, what about teamwork? Asking, "Are you a team player?" is a way to assess someone's collaborative skills. You might hear a solitary, "No, I prefer working alone," or a collaborative, "Yes, I like collaborating with others."
And understanding someone's preference for teamwork can help you better manage group projects or collaborations.
Okay, let's move on to introversion and extroversion. Asking, "Are you an introvert?" is a way to understand someone's social preferences. You might hear a surprising, "No, I'm quite outgoing," or a more expected, "Yes, I prefer quiet and alone time."
And respecting someone's preference for introversion or extroversion is crucial for building healthy relationships.
Agreed. All right, what about optimism? Asking, "Are you an optimist?" is a way to gauge someone's outlook on life. You might hear a realistic, "No, I'm more of a realist," or a cheerful, "Yes, I always look on the bright side."
And being aware of someone's level of optimism can help you better understand their perspective on challenges and opportunities.
Okay, let's talk about morning routines. Asking, "Are you a morning person?" is a way to learn about someone's daily habits. You might hear a reluctant, "Not at all, I wake up late," or an enthusiastic, "Yes, I love waking up early."
And understanding someone's morning routine can help you better coordinate meetings or activities.
Definitely. All right, let's move on to travel experiences. Asking, "Have you ever traveled abroad?" is a way to learn about someone's adventures. You might hear a regretful, "No, I've never left the country," or an exciting, "Yes, I've been to several countries."
And if someone has traveled abroad, asking about their favorite destinations or experiences can lead to fascinating conversations.
Okay, what about movies? Asking, "Have you seen this movie?" is a common way to start a discussion about entertainment. You might hear a curious, "No, not yet," or a familiar, "Yes, I saw it last week."
And if someone has seen the movie, sharing your thoughts or opinions can lead to an engaging conversation.
Agreed. All right, let's talk about homework. Asking, "Have you finished your homework?" is a common question among students. You might hear a stressed, "Not yet," or a relieved, "Yes, I just finished it."
And if someone is struggling with their homework, offering help or support can be a kind gesture.
Okay, let's move on to food experiences. Asking, "Have you ever tried sushi?" is a way to learn about someone's culinary adventures. You might hear a hesitant, "No, I'm afraid to try it," or a delighted, "Yes, I love sushi."
And if someone has never tried sushi, encouraging them to try it or sharing your favorite sushi restaurants can be a fun way to expand their culinary horizons.
Definitely. Okay, what about checking in with family? Asking, "Have you called your mom today?" is a way to show you care about someone's relationships. You might hear a forgetful, "Not yet, I'll call her later," or a heartwarming, "Yes, we talked this morning."
And reminding someone to call their mom or sharing a positive story about your own family can be a thoughtful gesture.
Okay, let's talk about concerts. Asking, "Have you ever been to a concert?" is a way to learn about someone's experiences with live music. You might hear a wistful, "No, I've never had the chance," or an enthusiastic, "Yes, it was amazing."
And if someone has been to a concert, asking about their favorite performers or moments can lead to a lively conversation.
Okay, let's move on to lost items. Asking, "Have you lost your keys?" is a way to offer assistance if someone seems distressed. You might hear worried, "I think I might have," or a relieved, "No, they're right here."
And if someone has lost their keys, offering help to search for them or suggesting they retrace their steps can be a helpful gesture.
Definitely. All right, let's talk about celebrity encounters. Asking, "Have you ever met a celebrity?" is a fun way to start a conversation. You might hear a disappointed, "No, I haven't," or an excited, Yes, I met one at the airport.
And if someone has met a celebrity, asking about the experience or their impression of the celebrity can lead to an interesting conversation.
Okay, what about books? Asking, have you read this book before? Is a way to start a discussion about literature. You might hear an interested, no, this is my first time, or a familiar, yes, I've read it twice.
And if someone has read the book, sharing your thoughts or opinions can lead to an engaging conversation.
Agreed. All right, let's talk about horseback riding. Asking, have you ever ridden a horse? Is a way to learn about someone's adventurous side. You might hear an eager, no, but I want to try, or an enthusiastic, yes, it was fun.
And if someone has ridden a horse, asking about their experience or suggesting a good place to ride can be a fun way to encourage them to do it again.
Okay, let's move on to sleep habits. Asking, did you sleep well last night? Is a way to show you care about someone's well-being. You might hear a troubled, no, I couldn't sleep at all, or a rested, yes, I slept like a baby.
And if someone didn't sleep well, offering sympathy or suggesting they try relaxation techniques can be a helpful response.
Definitely. All right, what about parties? Asking, did you go to the party? Is a way to follow up on a social event. You might hear a regretful, no, I stayed home, or an enthusiastic, yes, it was fun.
And if someone went to the party, asking about their favorite moments or who they met can lead to a lively conversation.
Okay, let's talk about breakfast. Asking, did you eat breakfast? Is a simple way to check on someone's well-being. You might hear a rushed, not yet, or a satisfied, yes, I had eggs and toast.
And if someone hasn't eaten breakfast, offering them a snack or suggesting a good place to grab a bite can be a thoughtful gesture.
Okay, let's move on to project deadlines. Asking, did you finish the project? Is a common question when you're working on something together. You might hear a stressed, no, I'm still working on it, or a relieved, yes, I submitted it already.
And if someone is still working on a project, offering help or support can be a great way to encourage them.
Definitely. All right, what about phone calls? Asking, did you call your friend? Is a way to follow up on a planned conversation. You might hear a forgetful, no, I forgot, or a connected, yes, we talked for an hour.
And reminding someone to call their friend or sharing a positive story about your own friendships can be a thoughtful gesture.
Okay, let's talk about understanding lessons. Asking, did you understand the lesson? Is a common question in educational settings. You might hear a confused, not really, or a clear, yes, it was clear.
And if someone didn't understand the lesson, offering to explain it or suggesting they seek help from a teacher can be a supportive response.
Okay, let's move on to sports. Asking, did you watch the game last night? Is a way to start a discussion about sports. You might hear a disappointed, no, I missed it, or an excited, yes, it was exciting.
And if someone watched the game, sharing your thoughts or opinions can lead to an engaging conversation.
Definitely. All right, what about cleaning? Asking, did you clean your room? Is a way to encourage responsibility. You might hear a reluctant, no, not yet, or a satisfied, yes, it's spotless now.
And if someone hasn't cleaned their room, encouraging them to do it or offering help can be a supportive gesture.
Okay, let's talk about tickets. Asking, did you buy the tickets? Is a way to follow up on a planned purchase. You might hear a disappointed, no, they were sold out, or an excited, yes, I bought them online.
And if someone couldn't buy the tickets, suggesting alternative events or offering to help find tickets on resale websites can be a thoughtful response.
Okay, let's move on to travel experiences. Asking, did you enjoy the trip? Is a way to follow up on a vacation. You might hear a disappointed, not much, it was tiring, or an enthusiastic, yes, I had a great time.
And if someone didn't enjoy the trip, offering sympathy or suggesting they plan a more relaxing vacation next time can be a helpful response.
Wow, we've covered a lot of conversational ground today, haven't we?
We certainly have. And I think the key takeaway is that basic conversation is all about being mindful, respectful, and adaptable. It's about listening as much as you talk and tailoring your responses to the other person's needs and preferences.
Exactly. It's not just about asking questions, but about creating connections and building relationships through everyday interactions.
So, the next time you're chatting with someone, remember these tips and see how you can elevate your conversation skills. It can make a world of difference.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll be back next week with more insights and tips. Until then, happy conversing.